Hi there, I'm Michelle Singh, and I want to welcome you to the Restful Teacher Challenge. Now, I created this challenge because I have been on the other side of burnout. I have been on the other side of dread. I have been on the other side of drained, okay? And I know what it feels like to be completely overwhelmed and stressed. I know that feeling of being pulled in thousands of different directions. And I know what it feels like when everything is all too much and my brain and physical body and spiritual being is at capacity. So I hope that you're able to gain practical insights from our guest speakers and fellow educators and professionals who will be sharing with you on this challenge. So thank you for joining the challenge, and let's meet our special guest speaker for today. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Restful Teacher Challenge. I am Michelle, and I am here with our special guest, Danielle Anderson. And I am so excited because of her work and her experience with rest. And I don't even know where this conversation is going to lead, but I just know it's going to be good. So I would love for you, Danielle. First of all, thank you again for sharing and being present. And I'm sure you're going to pour into teachers today and give them so much.
That
And
is
I'm
my
so
intention.
grateful,
Yes.
so grateful. So I just would love for you to share about who you are, because I know who you are,
Yes.
and about the important work that you do.
Yes. Thank you. Well, I am Danielle Anderson. I like to call myself, I'm a native Texan, a gummy bear snob, and I work as a trauma-informed speaker, wellness coach, and embodiment practitioner. And I wear a lot of different hats, but the common denominator of all that I do, I'm also a birth and bereavement doula. But the common denominator, whether I'm teaching fitness classes or supporting a mom in birth, is the body. And I'm really passionate about the body, particularly the nervous system. And so I like to say that I help people get out of survival mode and into thriving. And thriving to me is whole health, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, social. It's whole health, it's freedom, it's living with authenticity, it's living with the freedom to rest. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, so much already. So you talk about, out of survival mode and into thriving. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. What does it mean to be in survival mode, and what does that look like? Because many of us live in survival mode and we don't even know it, because that's just what we have had to do our entire lives. So tell us a bit about what that looks like for us who don't know, so that we can know
Yes.
this is where we live and this is not the place for us to be.
Yes. Fantastic question. And I totally agree with you that many of us are living in survival mode and we do not know it. I intentionally use the word survival mode because that is a state of the nervous system. Your nervous system has a rest mode, a safety mode. It has a kind of a play active mode. It has a freeze mode where I'm immobilized. And in some of those modes, one is survival mode, where my body it gets activated into, man, I'm facing a stressor, I'm facing a threat, and now I'm on high alert to do what I have to do to keep myself safe, to keep myself alive. And so that's a beautiful thing when you actually are facing a threat to your life. If I'm facing, a bear or a lion, like I want my body to go into survival mode so I can flee or fight or do whatever I need to do. But oftentimes in our context, our body goes into survival mode based off of psychological threats. So people said something rude, you had an insensitive comment by a boss, you saw a very disturbing image of bodies of color or female bodies being mistreated and harmed. So there's all these things around us that are small or large threats to our body, and it's keeping us in this heightened state of living. And so it keeps us living in such a way where maybe we are living with constant stress. We've resolved that stress is our norm. Maybe we are living at max capacity, like with full plates with no margin. Maybe we're constantly living in a brain fog. And because survival mode can show up in different ways, but one of the main ways to see that I'm living in survival mode is when I can see that I'm not getting the type of rest. I'm not getting rejuvenating rest that I need. And that's not only sleep. So survival mode is this reality that probably most of us are living in because of the pace of our culture, hustle and grind. It's very fast culture, and your body likes slow sometimes. And so this hustle, grind culture keeps us living in this pace of, I just have to keep going. I gotta keep going. I gotta keep going and won't let myself stop. And not only is that keeping us from resting, that actually is harming our body. So I'm not going to go into super deep nervous system education, but in short, I like to always say that survival mode is affecting every system of the body. And if I stay in survival mode, that begins to affect my health, my immune system, my digestive system, my cardiovascular system. Everything gets affected because what's happening is my body is sending resources to keep me alive. So it's making sure I can fight, or it's making sure I can flee. And in those scenarios, digestion, immune system, that's not very important. But at some point, I do need my immune system. I do need digestion to be important again. And when I stay in survival mode, I actually am keeping resources from those very important systems throughout the body. So it's not just about, I mean, it really is a health, it's impacting our entire health. I'm very passionate about helping people to get out of it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So much learning there. So many things that we should go look up to dive deeper in it. But ultimately, it can affect your long-term health, and you may not see
Absolutely.
it now, but as you get over a certain age, things are going to start happening. I know from personal experience, things that I did back in my 20s and 30s are now starting to affect me all of a sudden in my 40s.
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
so yet you may have to go look some things up, but ultimately it's about recognizing that you're in survival mode, because like you said, culturally, we are fast paced. We're used to having 190 million things on our to-do list and just kind of going through and checking those off. And so our capacity is almost always full. And that's
Yes.
what we've done and what we've been used to. But that's not the norm. Like you said, that's not normal. That's not even safe for us, because our body likes to be at ease. And our body.
Yes, your body does want rest, but what happens over time is when I live in survival mode, my body starts to correspond survival mode with my baseline. And so I've worked with a lot of clients where survival mode becomes what feels safe. And there's lots of stuff there. The body does crave familiarity. It does crave what's familiar. And I put safe in quotation marks, because just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's actually truly safe for you. It's what your body is used to. And when we get used to survival mode as our norm, we're actually teaching our body that rest is not truly safe. And so so I don't know if you've ever experienced, a moment of pause and you're like, I should be doing something. Like you
Yes.
feel almost uncomfortable in stillness, uncomfortable in
Yes.
slow. That's a really great telltale sign if we've gotten used to survival mode as our norm, when I can't find comfort in stillness, I can't find safety in slowing down.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So this is what it made me think of just now. So during COVID, and even in our classrooms, post COVID, right? If we ask our students a question and there's silence, we think something is wrong if they don't immediately answer, like, oh my gosh, I need to give the answer now, or they don't understand the question, rather than just pausing and giving them time to think and process.
That's right.
And so it just made me think of that analogy when you said that your body is not used to rest, because when you slow down, you think something is wrong. Just like we think something is wrong when a kid doesn't answer the question right away. And in fact, all they need is just a few seconds to process what you've just asked them so they can come up with a response.
That's right.
Yeah. So our bodies naturally resist anything rest related, is what I'm hearing.
No, when you're stuck in survival
When you're stuck in
mode,
survival mode.
your body will find rest and slowing down. There'll be resistance to it because it doesn't know that as safe. It doesn't know that as familiar. It knows busy. It knows stress as its norm. So anything outside of that is going to feel unsafe.
Gotcha. So what can we do to start retraining our mind and our body to not be resistant towards rest, and you mentioned rest is not just sleep. So
Mhm.
what are those things that we can start doing as, very busy women and men in education and in, leaders, and 100 things on our plates, and we're caring for everybody else and not caring for ourselves? Where can we start if we're just now recognizing that, oh my gosh, I've been in survival mode forever and I need to
Mhm.
get out? Where can I
Mhm.
start?
Fantastic question. And I love the question because it baked into the question is the good news that your body can learn something new. I refer to it as the programming. Our nervous system has a programming. And so if I want to change my nervous system's programming to not only live in survival mode, but to be able to find safety in stillness and in true rest, I believe we start with paying attention. We start with awareness. And so it will take a moment, a level of slowing down to just begin to notice. So let's say I'm in the classroom and I I feel hurried I feel the hurry sensation of like somebody answer the question. It's too quiet. It's uncomfortable. Pausing to notice those sensations in the body, like I call it listening to the body, noticing those internal sensations. So when I can then see, oh, there's hurry here. That's signaling me that, oh, my body, there's something happening where I don't find comfort in this quiet. So then when I can notice that, oh, my body kind of goes frantic when it's quiet, then I can decide, well, do I want my body to continue to be frantic and quiet? Or do I want to begin to teach my body that it can be safe and quiet? And so once you notice, then there's just little things you can do to really tell your body, hey, quiet is safe. And so that might be breathing in those moments when you feel your body kind of go frantic. Maybe you just breathe and internally say to your body, you're safe. It's okay. It's just a few seconds of silence. Maybe you begin to notice where the franticness is and you gently, hold your own hand or you feel where it is in your body and you just gently place your hand on your heart or on your, not your heart, your shoulder, because you felt your shoulder get tight in the front. You're like, you know what? We're safe. And the more you can listen and the more you can respond in little ways, you actually start to teach your body a new baseline. So now your body over time will learn silence, like a couple seconds of silence after a question is asked is safe. No need to freak out, no need to activate. We're good. And you can train your body that by paying attention and responding.
I love that you talk about training your body, because we talk about reframing our thinking and shifting our thinking, but you also have to retrain your physical body as well. And it
Yes.
and yeah, go ahead, tell us more.
Yes, for sure. We live in a culture that is very much about the thinking mind, where we believe we are these thinking beings that sometimes feel. And the truth is, we are feeling beings who occasionally think. So all the stuff in this body, it's telling us stuff, but we haven't been trained, we haven't been taught, we haven't cultivated that muscle of paying attention to those internal sensations of the body. And to me, that's one of the biggest things to learn is to really get connected to your body, and I love the word embody, to really live embodied. So you start to pay attention to those. Oh, there was a little flutter in my stomach right there. What was that? Is that fear? Is that anxiety? And we just start to notice what's happening in the body. So we actually can live, like I love the word integrated. We can live where our mind and our body, everything is connected and working together as it should, rather than being people who ignore the body and only live within this rational thinking mind. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does, and it makes me think of conversations with others where we talk about joy and how some people don't really know what brings them joy because they don't spend time with themselves enough. So it's making me think, like, if you pay attention to your body and those feelings that come up, then you're going to be more cognizant of if something brings you joy and if it doesn't. And when you're bringing those things together, then you can find those joyful activities and moments and integrate them within your day. And then you'll be able to cultivate that joy with rest. Would you like to talk a little bit more about how
Yeah.
joy plays a role too with rest, and how someone who doesn't really spend time with themselves for all the reasons that we talked about, being so busy, being a caretaker, never putting themselves first, because
Hmm.
yeah, society tells us that's selfish. How
Right.
can they start to find the joy in their day and
Absolutely.
start to put that together in their daily routine?
Yeah, that's great. I definitely think that joy and rest are related. And to me, rest is almost a fruit of joy. Um, and you'll hear joy defined different ways. One of my most recent definitions of joy that it's rocking my world. Joy is this idea of the shining face of another because of you, like in your presence. So joy is this communal reality. Oh, close the door, buddy. Joy is this communal reality. And that might be with people, that might be in a spiritual sense with your God, your higher power, just knowing that I am loved, just knowing that I am cared for. And when I know that I am loved and I am cared for, then I think I have more freedom to rest. I give myself more freedom to be rather than always do, because I know that I don't have to go and earn this love or this validation. And so for me is paying attention to the things um, that have that happen, like when your face is lighting up or when someone else's face is lighting up. Okay, so thinking about joy, if it's a shining face, what makes your face shine? And we can think about that in a communal aspect. We can also think about that in a personal aspect as well. Like, man, my eyes light up when I wear fun earrings. So there are little ways that I'm going to intentionally pursue fun earrings in my day because, like, that brings me joy. That makes me feel like myself. And I believe that myself is loved and has a lot of value and it's good for me to be myself. So let me think through little things I can do to almost increase my joy capacity. And so
Mhm.
it does, I think, begin with a knowing of self. And you're right. People will think, oh, is that sinful or is that selfish? And I am a big believer that you being your true self, you knowing yourself is a gift to the world. You actually, in
Yeah,
my opinion, serve better out of that
yeah,
than when you don't know yourself and you're kind of just going through the motions. I think when we can live very present in life and knowing ourselves, that I'm able to impact people at a greater capacity. And it's not only for the sake of impacting people, but I do think there is a value there. There's a power there. So first we have to begin with being okay with knowing ourselves and noticing any hesitations, any resistances that come up in the body that says, this is wrong, this is not okay, we should know ourselves, and breathing through that or finding safety in it. And then beginning to ask the question, well, what are little things that bring me joy? What are little things that make my face shine? What are little things that bring me joy when I am around others? It might be, I really like to dance with my kids. Okay, well, let me bake that into my day. I really like to listen to this song. Let me bake that into my day. And the more I can intentionally, very consciously make choices, very little things, conscious choice is powerful and impactful and a treat to your body and to your nervous system. And everything, all this stuff works together. So the more I can be aware of, I am someone who really loves to wear fun colored socks. I am someone who really loves the color blue and would like to incorporate that in my classroom. Those little choices throughout the day, the week, the year will make huge and powerful impacts on your body, your mental health, and of course, your rest. Because when you walk into your classroom and there's that blue there, you just invited yourself to feel a little bit of safety. And that safety is a signal to your body to actually enjoy rest rather than survival mode.
oh my goodness, so so good. So practical, so good, so simple, right? Just incorporating the things that you know that keeps you feeling that brightness, that safety. And one thing too that you mentioned that makes me think, the shining face, it's your what makes your face shine, but you said it, what makes others' face shine when they're in your presence. So knowing yourself kind of shifts your energy as well. And that energy that you have influences others. So imagine what it can do for your students and those people that you're around every single day when you begin to find that joy and begin to find that rest. And now you're kind of transferring that positive energy to your own students and the people around you, right? So go ahead. I know you got
Yes, absolutely. The more you can sit in these spaces of joy, letting your face shine, letting others' faces shine on you, you now become that shining face for others. So now you become this person of joy in your classroom. And I don't know your student stories, and I don't know how many faces are shining upon them in their own lives. You now get to be one of them. So you get to be this person whose face is shining in their presence. And neurologically speaking, that is a gift to your students where they can begin to feel safe around you, or you're cultivating an environment of safety, of belonging in the classroom. And on this gift goes. I very much think that it's a gift that has a trickle down effect. It's where I believe you become what I call an agent of healing in your circles of influence. The more that you can do this personal work of self-knowing, intentionally making choices to promote your own rest, your own joy, that then gets trickled down into every person that you come in contact with. I think that's a gift, a beautiful thing.
beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so now that we've talked about rest and the importance of embracing rest and also knowing yourself so that you can feel that joy, and then also, share that joy with those around you, what would be, what if you had to share one piece of advice to teachers to help them continue or start to embrace joy and restful living in their daily routines, what would
Mm-hmm.
that be?
Oh, that's a great question. I would actually ask them, you know, to start with what, to, considering what brings them joy. What is something that really makes you smile? It energizes you. It helps you to know that you are a human who's loved. And they're like, oh, well, I just love this song. Or, I love meditation. Or I love nature. I love looking at the sky. So whatever that one thing is for them, I would then ask them really practically to figure out a way to bake that into their everyday practices. I am someone, I told you before we began recording, I call myself solar powered. I love the sunlight. So every morning, one of my practices is I'm going to go and open my blinds. That is very simple and so powerful for me because I know myself and I know I need to let that sunlight in. So I think it does become very personal for someone to go, okay, what is one thing that brings me joy? Or you might think about what's one thing that helps you feel like you? Nature, music, colors, earrings, hair, whatever it is. And whatever that one thing is, my encouragement is to bake that into your practices every day. And I love the word practice and I intentionally use it because it does become a practice. You are someone who is practicing joy. In the same way we're going to learn how to play the piano, I practice the piano to become a great piano player. And so in my life, if I want to be this person of joy, this person of rest, I have to practice it. And so I encourage you to incorporate that word practice. This is my practice. I open the blinds, practice. And so make it very simple, very practical, very on.
If it's influenced by nature, can you spend 2 minutes in nature every day? Or can you spend 5 minutes witnessing nature, just noticing it? And my encouragement as you choose the one thing, let it just be for joy's sake. It doesn't have to be I'm achieving or I'm producing. Learning how to just be is really powerful for your nervous system. So for me to just be in nature, for me to be and just play my song, for me to wear my color blue, and for the soul's sake of it being joyful, not about productivity, not about achieving, that's a powerful thing.
So just that feeling is for you and nobody else. It's for you to feel whatever it is that you need to feel safe, to feel, I don't want to say joyful or happy because we're talking about that, but ultimately that's what you're going to feel on the inside. So do the thing that makes you feel good on the inside. and not just because society tells you or somebody tells you, but what makes you feel good on the inside.
Yes. And what you're doing when you do that, you're literally changing your neurology. You are changing how your nervous system operates. You're making yourself, have you ever heard there's this idea that we all have our own Wi-Fi signal in a sense, like we're all kind of emitting something. And I get to I get to be a conscious participant in what I emit. I'm sure we've all walked into a room and no one said anything, but you can kind of feel the like, ooh,
Yeah.
awkward. There's tension in here. I don't
Yeah.
like it. Um, you can be intentional to make yourself be this, this person who is safe, who is, vibrant with joy or with a positive energy. And when you bring that into your classroom,
Mm.
we don't even have time to talk about how our nervous systems impact others,
Mm-hmm.
but you impact your students' nervous systems when you can come in joyful, grounded, restful. You now have this nervous system that actually reads as safe to your students.
Yeah.
And that's a very powerful and beautiful gift.
I mean, it's simple. Like, we as adults, we can go into spaces where we don't feel safe. So it's the same for your kids. They come into the classroom and they feel that tension. They feel that, you know, whatever that energy is, that's not grounded, that's not safe. They feel that. And
Right.
so if you could shift that for them, imagine how that just shifts the learning and the progress and just that sense of belonging, not just for them, but also for you.
That's right.
Right. So much goodness here. And I know we're coming close to time. And I really want to thank you, Danielle, for sharing your insights and your expertise around just the nervous system, because that's something that we often don't know much about or think about in its connection to what we can do every day just to shift, those things in our environment and in our mind and in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I appreciate you spending a little time with us on the Restful Teacher Challenge to let our teachers know what they can do practically every day to start practicing building joy and rest in their daily routines.
For
So
sure. And
any final thoughts?
yes,
Go
I
ahead.
definitely have a final thought because I want to invite the teachers to invite their students to join them in this. So another practical on the ground, since my body is impacting your body and my nervous system is impacting yours, a great way to encourage a moment of grounding, of presence, of belonging in the classroom. I would invite you to have your students breathe together. Breathing is so powerful. I don't even have time to get into all the things. But if you can take 30 seconds, take 60 seconds and guide your students into breathing in through their nose and breathing out their mouth like this is going to force the exhale to be really slow. And when you let that exhale be slow and longer than the inhale, you actually are turning on your body's rest response, your body's relaxation response intentionally in the classroom. So I don't know if it was a frantic morning, everybody's rushing out of the house to get to school. It's a very powerful thing to do in the morning or when you're coming back in or transitioning from different things. Take 30 seconds, take 60 seconds to ground, and you'll notice a shift in your own body, and your students will notice a shift in theirs as well. So that breathing is a fantastic way to keep sharing that joy and sharing that rest with you and your students.
Yay. Thank you so much, Danielle. Appreciate you. And thank you all for watching the Restful Teacher Challenge. We are here to support you, and we want you to start integrating these practices in your day, because you are going to feel a ton better when you start doing them consistently, and consistency is key. So find that thing that brings you joy, find that things that will help you to rest and resist being in survival mode so that you can become better for yourself first, and then of course those that you care for and those that you serve. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for participating in the Restful Teacher Challenge. I hope you found our guest speakers' insights inspiring and practical. Take the time to plan and implement your joyful rest daily, and tell us about it in the community.